So the movement phase is where battles can be won and lost. In my Warhammer 40,000 beginners series, I'll teach you the very basics of how to play 40k. So this is the beginner video for the movement phase. So this is your introductory videos to learn how to play 40k. So you have done your deployment, you have done your command phase, and now it is your movement phase. So for example, if we are using, if it's a Chaos Space Marine player's turn, they get to move their units, okay? So there are certain abilities, etc., where the opponent gets to move, but generally we'll just for now, we'll stick to, it is just whoever's turn it is will get to move. So Chaos Space Marines have a movement characteristic of 6, okay? It's measured in inches. This means they can move 6 inches, okay? So they can measure it up, they can move up to 6 inches. There are a few things. So you don't have to move. You don't have to move the full 6 inches. You could move 1 inch, but you can move up to 6 inches, okay? There are a few restrictions on how you can move, okay? So I can move full 6 inches wherever I want, as long as I do not end up within engagement range. Engagement range is 1 inch around the enemy. So this is where, so if we just put these blood angels here, let's just say they're there. So we can move 6 inches, so we could move all the way into these units, into those troops, but we can't do that because we can't move into engagement range. So we can use this 1 inch here, we can move all the way up to 1 inch around there, okay? So you can move wherever you like, you can't end within 1 inch in engagement range. And another thing you can't do, you cannot end your move on top of a piece of scenery, okay? You can move up scenery, okay, that's different, we'll not include scenery at the moment, but you can't end up with your base. If your base is going to end up in the middle of a wall, you can't do that, you either have to move here or all the way over, okay? And again, not getting in too much with terrain, but with ruins you can just move through, okay? Terrain is a whole nother video, I think. So that is a normal move. So whatever it says on your data card, 6 inches, 12 inches. So for example, these assault intercessors can move 12 inches because they can they have a higher move characteristic. So there are also 2 other types of move you can do. You can do a normal move, which is, let's just say for Legionnaires, 6 inches. You can also do what's called an advance, okay? So if I do an advance move, I'll declare it, I'll say, my Legionnaires are going to advance, so then they can move 6 inches plus whatever I roll on this dice, which in this case was a 6. So they now have a movement of 12. So instead of moving just here, they might want to move all the way over here into this building to start to attack these inceptors, or whatever they're called, infiltrators even, that are around there, okay? So you can advance using the advance roll. Once you've declared it, you can't wait to see what your roll is and then decide, oh, actually I don't want to do that. Once you've declared it, you have to go through it. When you advance, you cannot shoot and you cannot charge, okay? So if you move normally, you can then shoot in the shoot phase and you can charge in the charge phase. If you advance, generally you cannot shoot and you cannot charge. There are some exceptions to that. If you have assault, the assault keyword on your guns, that means you can shoot, okay? So you can shoot assault weapons if you advance. And the other exception, so I said about the charge, you cannot charge. So some units have abilities where you can advance and charge, okay, which is very useful. For example, Chaos Space Marine Chosen have advance and charge, okay. And also sometimes you can use the stratagems. Remember I said in the command phase that if you use CP, you can sometimes use a stratagem to advance and charge. You can also use it to advance and shoot, etc, etc. Okay, some have abilities to do it, some have stratagems, some have army rules that can do it. Renegade Raiders get assault keyword on all the weapons so they can advance and shoot the entire army. So that is dependent from army to army. But generally, if you advance, you cannot shoot, okay, and you cannot charge. So, and there's one final type of movement that you can do. So let's just say we were in combat originally. So let's just say we were in combat originally. Don't worry, his arm is magnetised, it's fine. So let's just say we was in combat. And we don't want to be in combat anymore because we know that they're going to kill us next turn, let's just say. We can make a normal move of 6 inches out of combat. Again, we don't have to move the full move, we can just move 1 inch if we want, we can move the full 6, okay? And like advancing, if you fall back, you cannot shoot, you cannot charge, okay? You cannot do actions unless you have abilities or special rules, etc. Like for example, Chosen, again, can fall back, shoot, charge. Some people have stratagems, some people have special rules that can do that, or detachment rules or whatever, okay? So there are exceptions, but generally, if you fall back, you cannot charge, okay? So, and one more thing to note is if your unit is battle shocked for whatever reason, if you want to fall back, you can still fall back, but you have to roll a dice for each model that falls back. They have to take what's called a desperate escape test. So you roll your dice, okay, and any ones means it's a destroyed unit, okay? So even if it's a knight, for example, if you roll a 1, that model is destroyed. Even if it's got 20 wounds, it will still be destroyed on the roll of a 1, okay? So falling back, while battle shocked, you need to take a desperate escape. And another thing, if you are surrounded, so imagine we've got one guy left there, they're all dead, okay, he's there, he's surrounded, there's no way his base could fit out of there, okay? If he wants to fall back now, he has to move through models, he has to physically move through the models to get out, he would need to take a desperate escape, okay? If he's battle shocked and desperate escapes, it's on a 1 and a 2, he dies, okay? So yeah, each unit has a different move value depending on what unit is, but again, you'll know that from your statistics, okay? And then there is one stratagem. There are lots of stratagems, but a generic stratagem that can be used in the movement phase is, say it's Chaos Space Marine players' turn, they might move their unit up, and a common stratagem that is used is called Overwatch. That means the enemy can shoot in the movement phase, okay? There are other stratagems that can happen. You can have the enemy can move away and things like that. So again, it's dependent on from army to army. But movement phase in general, you can move your units up to the value on their data card. You can advance them. So that's 1d6 added to movement, but that means you can no longer charge and you can no longer shoot. There are some exceptions to that rule, but that's the general rule. And then if you're in combat, you can fall back and you cannot shoot, you cannot charge. Generally, there are some exceptions. If you are battle shocked and try and fall back, you have to take a desperate escape. If you are surrounded and fall back, you have to take a desperate escape. If you're battle shocked and surrounded, you have to take a desperate escape. On a 1 or 2, you will fail, but that's more advanced rules. So again, hopefully this video has been helpful. There are some other some interactions with terrain, so I think that's a whole other video. Ruins are the most common. You can walk through them as long as you're infantry. Vehicles cannot, they have to go around them. Flying units can fly over them. Things like woods you can move through. There are certain buildings that are impassable. You can move up a building, so you can measure up and you can climb up and over it. But like I say, terrain would probably be another video, okay? Just generally, infantry can move through. Vehicles cannot. If you've got the infantry keyword, you can. Beasts can as well. Most commonly played type of scenery is ruins anyway, okay? So that concludes the movement phase. Like I say, if I've missed anything, let me know in the comments. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Hopefully that helped.